What's going on, guys? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano live stream, and this one is live on the 10th of August. Seeing a really nice movement in the price this morning. We'll wait and see if you guys can hear me, and if you can, we will continue then. So I'll just get confirmation in the comments if someone can let me know. There is a slight delay in when you guys see this and when I am talking. So let's see what we have. We have 70 people on so far, 14 likes. Hopefully as we continue here, the viewer count will go up. YouTube will be kind and share this out there as well. So just waiting on the confirmation, but I think you guys can hear me looking at my side anyway. Yeah, all good. That's great. So I'm sure everyone has been extremely happy this morning on what we have seen on the ADA chart. So we've seen a really nice move on the ADUSD price. Yeah, everyone can hear me. Great to see. We have Bruno from Portugal. I wonder where else we got people from this morning. I'm sure current time, Australia is probably going to sleep. The US is waking up, and in Europe it is a perfectly good time for us here. It is 3 o'clock in the middle of the day. I see AG just put a $50 super chat. I really do appreciate that, AG. I don't know if there was meant to be a comment with it or anything like that. If there is, then put it in again and I'll be sure to read that out, whatever it is. Very much appreciated. So look, here's what we had this morning. I'll go through the chart, have a bit of a look at it, look around some of the news that's going on for Cardano, and then we will come back to the chat as well. I see the different places coming in now. We have Washington, Netherlands, UK, Wales, Santa Barbara. Very nice. So look, let's get into looking at the chart to see what has actually happened. So ADUSD, we can see here, we had on the 4-hour candle here, we went from $1.47 all the way up to $1.58 before a bit of a pullback and then pushing higher again. So you can see $1.56 was a level that we had been watching for a while, I suppose. And when you look at that in the bigger picture, the reason this is a level to watch at all is because all the way back here, we can see that when we initially broke the 2017 all-time high of $1.33, we went all the way up and set $1.56, and that then became a resistance point for us. So you can see all the way back here when we initially set it back in February. Once again, couldn't get across it all along here, and then got stuck under it at this point. So right now we're fighting with that level again, trying to get over this. If we can establish ourselves above $1.56, that will be very, very good for the price. I see AG just put in again, lots of love and respect from Florida. We love you. I really appreciate that. Thanks very much. None of what I do here is possible without all of the people that continue to watch on a consistent basis. So thank you very much for that. So if you look at what was even better to see this morning was when we got this pump on ADUSD, I haven't found any single news event yet that has caused this spike at this exact time. But what was good to see is if you look at the ADABTC chart, so again, this is one that I show a good bit here. I'll just reset the chart. You can see the overall uptrend that we've had since the 3rd of January this year. You can see we just came down and tested it a few days ago, got a nice bounce off it, and once again came down and tested it in the last few days. And as you can see here, the bounce came very strongly off that level this morning. So what we really do need to see is this to continue on to the upside now and try and challenge the upper side of this. Let's just bring this. Yeah, the daily, you can see it a lot better. So you can see very strong so far. Nice bounce here. Same again this morning. So we're going to watch and see where this closes over the next day, I suppose, the next 24 hours. It's going to be important. Look, to be honest, the markets are far outperforming what I expected. Now, I mean on the Bitcoin side and crypto in general with what's going on in the US. When we see how the markets have reacted, if you look at Bitcoin, it's had an incredible 2 weeks. So ADA hasn't had the huge explosive growth that we're kind of just waiting for in this run up to smart contracts. If Bitcoin does actually slow down now, if we look at the Bitcoin chart here, again, lots of noise. But what you see here is on Bitcoin, we'll go back to the daily actually. You can see we have broken out of the overall downtrend. So initially when we tested it, we got rejected and then broke out of it. So I can actually delete that off the chart. I don't need it anymore. So yesterday when we got the real push to the upside, you can see we hit that $46,000 level and got pushed back down. So right now we're waiting to see where this stabilizes. To be honest, for the ADA price, I would be quite happy to see Bitcoin trading a little bit sideways for the next few days or even the next week or so between 46 and 43, because what's going on in the US, I'm sure most people have seen some of the stuff that's going on about it. If you're on social media at all and follow any cryptocurrency channels, there's a good chance you've heard about it. But there's a bill going into the US Senate that has a huge impact on cryptocurrency. So they're trying to make it that, with the wording of their bill, is that anybody who deals with cryptocurrency transactions needs to report everything directly to the IRS. So in actual fact, this is impossible. So this would include miners, this would include stake pool operators like myself, which it's actually impossible because we don't know who's on the end of different transactions. With the stake pools, we validate transactions, but we don't know who's on the end of it. So there's been a lot of fighting and amendments trying to clarify the definition of a broker. Unfortunately, all of them got thrown out yesterday. So again, it came down to, I think one person had the overruling that said there was going to be no amendments made because basically he wasn't getting his way. So he didn't want to listen to any other amendments. But what has been extremely strong to see over the last few days is the amount of support that has actually come out. And I would say the biggest positive out of all of this for me is that the amount of people contacting their senators out in the US, I don't know how much direct impact this has, but what it does is it shows them that cryptocurrency isn't just something that they can make a ruling on and it's just everyone lies down and takes it. People are going to fight on this, and they can't just brush aside cryptocurrency now as a fad that will disappear. Cryptocurrency is here to stay. The last week or so has really shown that. And what it's also going to do is it's going to put in place a lot of different groups now that will be fighting going forward and looking a lot closer at what they're trying to bring in legislation and into the Senate, into the actual government. So it's going to be an interesting few weeks. As far as I know, the bill is going to be voted on. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow. Someone in the US might be able to clarify that. Again, I'm in Ireland, so I'm not fully sure of the structure there and how all of this happens. But worst case scenario, it gets approved and it doesn't actually come into effect until 2023. So still a long way to go. I know there's a lot of, we'll say, very well-off people within cryptocurrency, well-off bodies that are looking to fight this, that are starting to look at what type of legal funds they can take to challenge this and see what type of changes they can get to it. So again, with all of that going on in the US, to see this type of movement on the Bitcoin chart has been incredible. And normally with these types of events, you would have expected the market to tank, especially when votes weren't going its way. But again, great to see over the last few days. So now it's about time that ADA started to take off. You can see we've had a nice steady rise since $1.02, so very nice to see. Definitely can't complain with being up at $1.57 now, especially after what happened this morning. Short term, what I'd like to see is getting above this 156. If we finish above 156 today and try and get this area as our next support to get the springboard up, I still think we can hit the all-time high in around smart contracts. What happens after smart contracts? Some people say we will just crash through the floor. Others say that's only the start of when we really moon. For me, what I see is, if I bring up the other chart that I've done in my video, actually, not this one. Yeah, these ones here. So what you can see is this is the chart here that I copied the pattern. So from the last time that we had our big release, so this was when native assets came on chain for Cardano, I copied the pattern of what happened in the 30-day run-up. So if we look at this here and how we're actually performing on this, it's not all that far away. So what was that? The 8th of August, 2 days ago, we fell out of the channel, trying to push back into it. With the push this morning, it really does push us back up into that. And if we did follow a similar pattern, it's never going to be exactly that, then we would be up testing the all-time highs before we hit smart contracts on the 31st of August. Now again, the 31st of August, we're going to get clarification on that from, Charles has said in a few videos, he's had a lot of videos out over the last few days. We're going to get clarification on that in the next 2 days, I think. So Wednesday or Thursday this week is when we should get an official date on smart contracts. As soon as we do, I'll put a very quick video out just giving the dates, because that's what people want to hear. And again, it is going to be like we get the initial release, and then after that, there's going to be lots more releases after that where the tooling and everything like that follows. But the big release will be putting the smart contract functionality up onto the node so everyone can start running smart contracts. The difference is for developers and everyone building on it, the infrastructure or the tooling there to actually build them isn't going to be just as good as it should be or could be, but that's going to follow in the few weeks after. So again, they're the kind of dates that we're looking at. What am I missing in chat here? Surely we don't want BTC to go below the 200 MA. No, we don't want to see it dropping below. If we look at where soon, what we're going to start hearing is about the golden cross. So we had the huge death cross that, well, I say huge, but this was the death cross that happened back in June. So what we're going to start hearing fairly soon is the golden cross. So if this movement here continues, what you will start to see is we'll start to move up here. The 50 moving average will start to move up and look to cross over the 200 moving average. So this is what was being said here. What we would ideally like to see to go into a really fast move to the upside would be trying to get above the 200 moving average. So again, ideally we stay above that. Realistically, I'm not too concerned if we don't cross above it. You can see anytime we have been rejected back down and we have to make a run up on it. I did hear someone say that it's on the third time where we actually break through it. This would only be the second time since we have fallen under it, but we'll wait and see what happens on that. What else have I missed here? Don't think the bill will ever happen. Too many in Congress own crypto. I think a lot more of them are definitely paying attention to crypto now, and we're starting to see a lot of bigger figures actually coming out in support of crypto and actually trying to understand it, because look, the majority of people who were going to be voting on this had no idea what any of the terms meant. And in reality, this should not be thrown into an infrastructure bill. So this looks like a bill that has a huge amount of things into it. It's a massive bill, a lot of information, and cryptocurrency was just kind of thrown into it at the tail end. So when you're looking at something like cryptocurrency, and they're starting to realize that now, is it cannot just be lumped in with everything else. With everything that's going on, it needs to be looked at independently. These senators, everyone who's voting on this, need to be educated first so they understand what's going on. Some of them, their only experience of cryptocurrency will be listening to the news or listening to CNBC or something like that, talking about the latest cryptocurrency scam or rug pull, or it's all over, it's going down. And that's their only impression of it. So they don't see the innovation. They don't see what's going on beneath it. They don't see all of the good that's there. So a lot of them will be taking a closer look after this. So again, that is a positive there. ADA needs to go to $2 US. It'd be nice. I think it's inevitable. We'll see how the next few days plays out. If we can hold $1.56, we'll leave up ADA USD for anyone coming in new to the stream. So glad to be an ADA holder. Yep. Thanks for your work from Poland. Great to see more countries here as well. Goes to the house and can be changed there also. Thanks 2D. Yeah, as I say, I'm not the best one to be giving you all the information on the bill, but for people who haven't heard about it, at least this is an introduction and you can kind of fall down the rabbit hole then of what's going on. Sunny Edinburgh. It's not too bad in Ireland here today. We had crazy amount of rain over the last few days. So much for summer. The infrastructure bill is supposed to be voted on today. If it doesn't, I think there will be a recess till September. Okay, that's interesting that there will be taking the few weeks break. So again, as I've been putting out retweeting a lot of people who are deep into this. I've been retweeting a lot of their stuff over on Twitter. So if you're not following on Twitter, my link is down below, and there's lots of people there. You'll see people I retweet. They are all good people to follow if you are interested in this type of stuff. We'll go down to the 140s first. I wouldn't be waiting at 140. If I didn't own ADA right now, I wouldn't be waiting for 140. But if I already hold ADA, potentially doing DCA is good, like buying some in now, setting lower orders down at the lower prices if we do get a drop. Because there is the chance, look, if the bill, something crazy happens, it gets rushed through, it gets voted in, and there's a bit of panic in the market, we could see dips, we could see fairly severe pullbacks and getting bought up fairly quick. So it is no harm to have lower orders in the market if you are happy to buy as well. What I would say when you're ever buying cryptocurrency is only buy at levels that you are happy to hold for the long term. Long term, I think even the current levels of ADA are going to be very, very good long term, but you may just have to hold for a while. So when you're buying, to save yourself the panic, the stress, buy with funds that you don't need for the next 12 to 24 months, and then you're in a far more comfortable position. Here from Spain, Love Ireland and Temple Bar, with Florida here. Will it reach $5 this year? $5 is possible. It's on the upper end right now of where we're going to go. I think it all depends on Bitcoin if we go as high as $5 for ADA, because Bitcoin, as ever, will drive the market to a degree. I think, as I've said in the video, looking at the August price for ADA, I think up around the all-time high is definitely a possibility. We just have to wait and see where it goes right now. I won't be selling right now anyway. A United Ireland or a $20 ADA will happen first. That's a tough question. I think we're getting closer to a United Ireland all the time, but I still see that as being a long way off as well. But neither of them are happening in the next 3 to 5 years anyway. Let's see what happens after that. What Cardano projects am I bullish on, or do you stay away from microcap coins? In general, I've stayed away from microcaps over the last while in terms of the general market. What I have been looking into a lot lately is a lot of the projects building on top of Cardano. So I have invested into World Mobile, looking at a few other ones, and as soon as I do pull the trigger, I will let people know. I'm going to be doing, rather than just doing straight up interviews on the channel now, what I'm going to be doing is kind of half the video will be me giving my review on it, and then the other half will be talking to people from the project then as well. So there will be a lot more on that as well. Also, I am going to be starting up a new YouTube channel with Paddy from the Shamrock Stay Pool, where we're going to be interviewing a lot more projects. So that channel is going to be building on Cardano. So it is in line with the website we've set up for tracking all of the projects building on Cardano. And then that will be the extension where we interview the different projects, because I get so many requests for interviews on the channel here, and I don't want to take them all onto this channel and it just interviews takes over. I want this still to be opinion, me just giving my opinion on the market, doing tutorials, bringing on some projects on here, but on the other channel we'll be able to put through a lot more interviews there as well. So as soon as I'll be setting that up later this week, and I'll put out the links then as well when that's ready. So what else have I missed? That's with Cardano projects. So there are lots of projects building there, and as well I've had projects reach out to me that aren't public yet. So I think once we get to September, you're going to see a crazy flood of projects coming onto the market that nobody has heard of yet, and lots of them are building in the background. And in some ways, I really like the projects that are building in the background. Some of them have reached out just to say what they're doing, potentially looking at interviews in September, or they're asking for advice on different things as well. And I do have to admire projects like that are building. So when they actually come to the public, they're going to have something fairly solid to show people when they do actually go looking for funding or looking to launch the project. What am I looking at here? Martin says, I only see Charles really putting his energy and effort into change and giving people attention to this bill. Where are the other big crypto guys? There are lots more coming out there. Jesse from Kraken has been extremely vocal on this as well, and he's really up for looking to start up some funds and stuff like that. So if I look at my Twitter just to see, there's another guy, Jerry. I retweeted a few of his things. Jerry Brito has been very vocal as well. So he is a director at Coin Center, and anyone who's interested in following the bill from a cryptocurrency side, he's a great guy to follow. really up-to-date information and giving insights from the crypto side as well. So what else have I missed there? United Independent, Scotland and Ireland. That would be good, wouldn't it? It is at 157 right now in Claremont, California. We have a 157 all over right now. Let's see how much higher we can go. How much do you recommend investing into Cardano every paycheck? To be honest, that's completely up to every individual, and that's a good point for me to say. Not financial advisor and all that general kind of stuff. Look, I'm showing what I'm doing, but for everyone, every individual, it's different. You need to assess for yourself. Consider anything you put into crypto potentially lost, or at the best case, it's locked for a year, 2 years, 3 years time. You have to get into it looking at that long-term mindset. For me, I'm extremely happy having the big percentage of my portfolio in Cardano and in Bitcoin. To me, they're very solid for the long term. Yes, I hold other coins, but at a lot smaller percentages. And as new projects come out on Cardano, I will be investing in lots of them as well. Where am I? Yeah, so Joe says, depends on how big your paycheck is. George from Chile. What else am I missing here? So smart contracts, can I explain smart contracts? I'll do a video looking at that actually, because there's a few videos like that I want to put out, especially around DEXs and stuff like that, explaining impermanent loss and the risks of using a DEX as well as the advantages. But in short, a smart contract basically takes the middleman out of the equation. So you're trusting code rather than trusting a third person to do something. So let's say, what's a good example? What's a simple? You can have that if you basically code it in that if event A happens, then B happens. So if say on a bet, so if you set up a smart contract for a bet, so it's betting on a team winning or losing. So you say that if team A wins, then the payout goes to John. If team B wins, then the payout goes to me. So you can set up smart contracts like this so you're not dependent. Once it's set in place, it automatically happens based on what's programmed into it. There's a lot more complex stuff you can get into, like when you get into using the smart contracts for DEXs and different applications out there. And basically you're putting your trust into the code rather than being dependent on another human or another person actually being the one to execute what you had agreed on. Set my swing trading bag today, selling 25% intervals, 159, 69, 79 and 2. Looking to buy back the dip, might all trigger. Increase position. Yeah, look, lots of people use that strategy, and it's probably one of the most common questions I get is, should I sell here to buy back lower? Personally, I don't do it. I will start selling when we get to levels where I'm happy to bank the money, where I'm happy to pull it out completely. But until we get to there, I'm not going to be selling. I do sell off some of my staking rewards. Not every time, but I do at some stages. But the actual hodl bag I have is sitting there for the long term. And again, when I start to sell, it would be a DCA approach. Just like that with the 25, I'd be selling at a lot smaller intervals, maybe 5, 10%. Selling off at prices where if we get a dip, great, I can buy back in. But I'm also happy to put the money back into a bank or hold it long term in a stable coin or something like that. So what else do we have? Let me see where I lost track of the chat there. Monthly, yeah, talking about Pablo. And again, yeah, it's all down to each individual. Forcing KYC gives staking businesses to exchange. I would not be surprised if exchanges want the bill as is. No, well, like Jesse is the CEO of Kraken and he's very much against this. And most exchanges, I don't think, want this either. It's fine. Exchanges should enforce KYC. So centralized exchanges should be enforcing KYC. But what the bill is looking to do is also force the likes of miners or stake pool operators to actually provide info to the IRS, information that we do not have and we do not want. What they don't, again, it's down to the education on who's wrote the bill and who's actually voting on it, is they don't understand that the protocol handles everything. So when people stake with a Cardano stake pool, The stake pool operator never gets control of the funds, and all of the payouts that happen all happen by the protocol. So I don't get the big bag of rewards every 5 days and then distribute it out to everyone. The protocol does all of that, and I never come into contact with the rewards that are due to delegators, and that's the way it should be. Paul says they don't want a United Ireland in Belfast, they want a £5 Cardano. Any update on how the progress of the Wyman? They were all thrown out, Brody. There's no amendments going into the bill for now. Is Guinness a good drink? Will you stop drinking it if Cardano reaches $25? Yeah, Guinness. If you come to Ireland, Guinness is something that everybody has to try. Will I stop if we get to $25? Maybe I'll see what else I could be buying at that stage. And yeah, why would anyone stop drinking Guinness? How many years are staking rewards set up for? How long will that pool of money be sustainable for Epoch? So staking rewards are coming down slightly every single epoch. That's the way that things are working. So the way I see it now is it's in around that 5%. So rather than being 5 to 5.5%, it's more in line with 5% right now. And I done a video on that talking before about the future rewards for staking on Cardano, and for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's on my channel if you take a look around. But basically there is a treasury there that pays out some of the staking rewards. So it has a balance that has been set there, and every epoch there is a certain percentage taken out of that and put in to pay out the rewards for staking. The transaction fees are also taken and they're put into that pot as well, and that's paid out as part of the fees. So obviously the treasury fund is going down. Every epoch it's coming down slightly. I think it's over 100 years before it is empty, but over the next few years, the big majority of it gets depleted. So what you want to see over time is the transaction volume is going up on the network. So that means there's more transaction fees to be actually paid out in staking rewards then. So there should come to the point where they kind of meet and there is a steady balance there for paying out rewards every epoch. So we don't know yet if the long-term rewards are going to be 2, 3%, 7, 8%. It all depends on the usage of the blockchain, the amount of transactions that are going on chain. And once we get smart contracts, you will see a huge rise in that. One video I will do fairly soon. I've done it twice before, I think, on the stats on the network, looking at what's going on. So looking at volumes, not just on price numbers, but looking at what else is going on. Cardano ever comply? So yeah, Charles has talked as well about looking at the protocol, and we don't actually know that the way the protocol is set up right now, potentially Cardano does comply with it because the protocol handles a lot of the distribution. It's more on the validating transactions that the issue would be. But again, it's crazy. You cannot bring in something like that. It just doesn't make any sense. There is the other side then for me that's in Ireland. Is it okay for me? It's just not okay for US stake pool operators, and it's crazy. It just cannot come in its current form. I do agree regulation does have to come into cryptocurrency. It's here. If we want to get as big as we all know we can in the future, then it's just going to be a part of it, but just not in this form. Red candles have been banned. Do I think Cardano can hit $2 this year? Definitely think it can hit $2. Bill is nonsense. 2D has said 750 ADA for ages. Welcome, Alex. Lambos for everyone. Yeah, Lambo is the crypto thing, but to me, I can't see myself ever getting a Lambo. Do you hold any ICP? No, I don't hold any ICP. If the bill passes, only the US affected, the rest of the world are fine. The rest of the world are fine to a degree, but generally what we see is whatever regulation comes in, some parts of it generally leak out into other countries, and we also see it definitely will throw the US way behind in terms of what they can do with innovation, and it stops blockchain innovators going into the country because they don't want to be involved in that mess. So really the US are only hitting themselves. So what they're trying to do with the infrastructure bill is get more tax, but in the long run, all they're going to do is kill themselves because they're going to push out an industry that I think is going to play a huge part in the future. People who have cryptocurrency businesses in the US will be looking to move out as well. What else have I missed here? I think I've got through most of the questions. Can I explain why ADA follows BTC so closely? Okay, so on a high level, when the outside world looks at cryptocurrency, what they see is Bitcoin. They start to look outside that once they get in, but they look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a determining factor of what cryptocurrency is to lots of people out there. Look, all of us inside, we know things are different than that. So the market generally follows. If there is some scare stories about Bitcoin, if there is talk of banning it or talk of different things going on, Bitcoin takes a fall. But generally, when the outside world is talking about bad stuff to do with Bitcoin, they mean cryptocurrency. They don't just mean Bitcoin. So it takes the whole market down. And again, lots of coins are priced against Bitcoin. So that's why I always look at the ADABTC chart. That's why you will always see me bringing this one up in videos talking about how we're performing against Bitcoin, because in general, you want to see us creeping up against Bitcoin. When there's big events going on like smart contracts launch, that is a time when you can see a big growth against Bitcoin. But in general, they will kind of correlate back in together then down the line. There will come a time where everyone will be able to differentiate the different assets, and it won't just be that one asset, that asset being Bitcoin, drives the whole market. You do look at the stock market though, and you look at when there is bad economic events, it's not just one stock that has a reaction. Generally, if there's something bad going on in the economy or something good going on in the economy, the whole stock market reacts in the same general trend. You'll have individual companies that will do better than others, but in general, you see them fairly correlated in their overall direction. So Alex says, like Paul's vid. So I see we have 154 likes. We've just over 300 live with us here. Would be great to push up that like count as well. Got home, had more aid than I spent. So Dude is Dave went shopping this morning, came home to buy stuff for his mother. That is great. Always great that when you make money in cryptocurrency that you're able to do stuff for family. Came home, made more ADA and spent it. Guinness all around. Is there anything for US citizens to purchase WMT? No, not yet. Unfortunately, again, that's down to US regulation that's there. That they cannot get involved in token sales. And there's opportunities for companies to fight that and potentially win and be allowed to sell to US citizens. But the amount of money you would have to put into that from a legal standpoint just doesn't make sense for companies. So right now there isn't. I would expect that when we get DEXs, hopefully early September, then you'll be able to get in and buy some World Mobile token then. Am I from Dublin? No, I am from the west of Ireland. So a lot of people get confused when they come on and hear that I'm Irish and I don't have a Dublin accent, but I'm from the opposite side of the country. What else have I got? Will Alonso Hardfork buy the rumor, sell the news? It will to a degree. I think we definitely will have a run up coming up to it, and we will have the pullback on people who... Because when you have big events like this, you will have the general people who aren't interested in Cardano long term or don't see where it's going long term. They'll come in for the short term, for the run up, and they'll buy into it and try and sell off. Maybe 2-3 days before we get smart contracts, you'll see the markets pull back a bit. But again, to me, it's always how quick these things are bought back up. So you look at when we do get the pullback, where is the point that the market actually starts buying back into it again, and projects launching on top of Cardano will be the point where people see, okay, there's real value here. The smart contracts are actually working and things look good for the long term. So where else have I got? The rewards are awesome and can go back to reinvest. Hence, you will never use your own money to increase. I'm not sure what that is about. From cryptocurrency, trust me, must stake and LP. Yes, so staking is very safe. If you're looking at being a liquidity provider on DEXs and different applications that will be coming out, that's, I suppose, the next level to staking. Brings in a little bit more risk because you're trusting smart contracts rather than trusting your own security. But again, will be a good option, and there will be lots of videos here once that's available for Cardano as well. ADA180, thanks for joining. Anyone who is not following ADA180, great place to get some daily updates on Cardano. Nice short form content as well. So US becoming anti-crypto, they're trying to a degree, but what they're finding out now is that crypto is a lot bigger than they actually thought it was, which is great to see. That is the biggest plus that I have seen out of what has gone on the last few days. Can I explain the current saturation level for ADA pools, please? So basically, it's all designed to keep pools under a certain limit. So currently that limit is around 64 million ADA. So when a pool gets to 64 million ADA, what happens is they don't get any more rewards when they go over 64 million. So a pool will get the same amount of rewards for having 64 million ADA in the pool as having 80 million. The only difference is that with the 80 million, they have a lot more people to spread it out over, so everyone gets a little bit less. So you want to stay in a pool that is under saturation, which is 64. That will change maybe by the end of the year down to around 32 million. But again, when we get closer to that, I will put out some more videos on that. Lots of guesses. What am I drinking? This is just a coffee in my Cardano mug. So, news a lot. Gold is taxed on a voluntary basis. Can the government track transactions? The government can track transactions with any blockchain. So there's people think out there that cryptocurrency can't be tracked, that it's all anonymous and nobody knows what's going on. But in reality, there's companies out there, there's software out there that can track what's going on the blockchain. What basically happens is they will track where the endpoint is, because it will always come out at some stage. The crypto will always be converted to fiat. So at that point, they get that point and start tracing backwards on the blockchain then to find out who actually was the one committed something wrong. So again, if you're using cryptocurrency for illegal activities, then you are doing things wrong, because Bitcoin, Cardano, Ethereum, all of the main cryptocurrencies can be tracked to a degree. Look, if I see a wallet address, I have no idea who owns it. But if you do something illegal, there are ways to reverse engineer, go back through the blockchain and find out who done what with different transactions. So Monero and stuff like that are ones that are actually private transactions. Where am I? Out of all the countries I've been to, Ireland was by far my favourite. O'Connell's Bar for ADA celebration. As far as I know, the Cardano event in Dublin is still going ahead the middle of September. So I'm waiting to see if it is going to go ahead. If it is, I am hoping to get to it as well. ERC20 converter. Hasn't been a huge amount of information out about that yet, Martin. I will do some research and try and put a video out on that as well. Thanks for staking with the pool, Phil. Yeah, anyone looking to stake with a pool, anyone who wants to support the channel, you can stake with one of my Cardano stake pools, PAUL or PAUL1. And yeah, I get a small percentage as well, Phil. So I really do appreciate everyone that joins in. You can sell the top and buy when the bear market will be. It would be great to have the crystal ball to see when the top of the market is and when the bear market is coming to sell the top and buy the bottom again. Doesn't generally work like that though, unfortunately. It can't be R. Yes, so Pirate Chain is another one. I don't own it, but have heard lots of people mention it. That is a completely anonymous blockchain. So look, I think we are coming to the end of it here. This is going on a little bit longer than I planned, but hopefully people got some value from it with answering the questions. I'll just see if there was anything else. Generally, Twitter is somewhere where I retweet anything that's going on. So I had Big Pay on. So from Big Pay is another Cardano cryptocurrency channel. So if you are into Cardano, you can check him out. I had him on for an interview last week. Went through lots of different Cardano information if you want to check that out. Actually, Brian Armstrong, someone mentioned exchanges probably want the bill. Brian Armstrong as well, CEO of Coinbase, definitely doesn't want the bill in its current form. He's saying that reporting to the IRS is perfectly fine and should be expected from the likes of Coinbase and Binance, but not from individuals. Rick has been putting out a lot of good information as well. Anyone interested in some Irish, kind of a break, getting past Irish immigration, give me a good laugh, so I put that out as well. I don't think there really was anything else there. Few charts, few bits about the amendments and stuff like that. But that's really it. What else? I'll check the questions one more time. If you haven't hit like, please do so. I really do appreciate it. If you are not subscribed, then what I do here is all about Cardano, and over the next while you're going to see me start talking a lot more about different Cardano projects, what's going on in the ecosystem as well. And where am I? I'm here. Do I own Ethereum? I own a small bit of Ethereum. Nowhere near the amount of ADA that I hold, but I have Ethereum for now. What I'm going to do in the future, I'm not fully sure just yet. And title pending, $2 super chat. I really appreciate that. Do you have to register wallets to prove ownership? Currently you don't have to register wallets to prove ownership for anything, unless there's certain projects and stuff like that you're getting into. Maybe they do want you to prove, like if you have NFTs in your wallet and you want to sell them through some of the marketplaces that are popping up, you have to prove ownership of your wallet then just by signing a transaction. But in terms of that, could be related to what we were talking about, tracing wallets and stuff like that. You don't have to register them for that type of stuff. Giro wallet pumping. Giro wallet's one I do need to look into. At one stage we were talking about bringing them on the channel. I might follow up on that to see what's going on. With ADA being staked, do I think there'll be a supply shock? To a degree there will be. There's people who say ADA has 72% staked, so that means that there's going to be a huge supply shock. The difference with it being staked with ADA, and some people give out because I point out this, but to me you have to be able to look at all aspects of the currency. Cardano doesn't lock your staking, so there's positive and negative to that. It's positive because it attracts a lot more people to stake, and to me I do like the feature. But then the negative side of that is that anyone can go into their wallet at any stage and sell their ADA off. So just because it's staked doesn't mean it's locked. You look at Polkadot, they lock it for 30 days. That's not a good situation either. To me, the best balance is something where you have it locked for a certain epoch. So say it was locked for this epoch, so it was locked for 4 or 5 days, and it would be a stronger position having the ADA locked then. But it will lead to some bit of a supply shock, but not just a huge supply shock that some people are expecting. And what else have I got here? Dave, will I be handsome? Will I be rich? What do you say to me? I'm sure you are, Dave. I'm sure if you hold your ADA, you'll do okay. If I delegated at July 28th, would I see rewards on the 17th? Without checking the calendar to check epoch dates, I'm not sure, but it is by the end of your 4th epoch is when you'll get your rewards. Shiba coins, no, I don't own any. And that's it. Okay, look, I think I've covered all of the questions. I appreciate everyone that tuned in. Hopefully you guys got some value. As I say, haven't hit like, please do so. Subscribe to the channel as well if you like this kind of content. Generally, I do a lot more short form content and throw in the odd live stream like this with AMAs. So thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. I'll talk to you all soon.